Hey, welcome to the Coffee with Creators podcast. My name is Rob Balasabas. Really glad to have you here, truthfully. Really glad to have you here. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, let me know what you think of the new camera angle, the new kind of setup here with my home office and also my workspace and my home studio and everything sort of in between that. Let me know. Really curious what you think of the new setup. I like it, of course. I think it's a lot cleaner, a lot nicer than the previous version. You can go to some of the older, maybe the last few YouTube videos or video podcasts. You'll see the old setup. But anyhow, welcome to the podcast. Really glad to have you here. Wanted to just say thank you to our sponsor, StreamYard. Always so loyal to sponsoring and supporting this podcast. Really glad to be working with StreamYard. If you guys know this channel or me, even for a little bit, you know that I'm a huge fan of StreamYard. I love what they're doing. I met their team at VidCon recently. Just love what they're doing. I use their platform, been using it for years. It's the best live streaming platform out there, in my opinion, bar none. You don't need any special software download or anything. Everything is on the cloud. You can stream to multiple channels all at the same time. Super easy. You're gonna look like a pro in a matter of minutes. So head over to the description or the show notes, and you will be able to get a link that gets you a 14-day or 30-day free trial. You'll get a free trial regardless, and you can test out StreamYard for yourself. You're gonna love it, and check out their community. Tell them Rob sent you, and it'd be really fun for you guys to do that. Let me know when you're streaming. Send me a message. Send me a link that you're about to stream. I'd love to see it. All right. So in this episode, I'm really excited for you guys to meet a good friend of mine. Become really good friends with him over the last few months. We share a common history where we both worked at the same place. Not at the same time, but at the same place, same company. We live in the same city, same region. Not the exact same city, but we are probably about 45 minutes away. And we got together and got to actually connect and talk and really have a good conversation around sponsorships, brand deals, partnerships in the creator economy amongst creators and brands. And my guest in this episode is an awesome person by the name of Sean Scott. He's the founder of The Partnership Expert. You can see here on his LinkedIn, he talks about the creator partnerships. Follow him for tips on building equitable partnerships here. And like I said, we both worked at Thinkific. He worked there between 2020 and 2022. And he did partnership specialist, manager, creator partnerships. He worked at Mobify as well. I'm very familiar with Mobify as well. They're in Vancouver too. Wider Funnel. Those are sort of the most recent ones. And then now he's actually with he launched his own company called The Partnership Expert, and also works with Wavy here in Vancouver. And so really excited for you guys to meet him. I think what happened there? You're gonna really enjoy this conversation, and yeah, so I'm not going to take up more of your time. With that, make sure you subscribe, like, send me a message, and also I know I got a lot of calls to action here, but also give this podcast a review. Would appreciate that so much, whether it's on Spotify or Apple. Give it a review. It really does help to get this podcast out to more people just like yourself, more creators, so that we can really build this community and help other creators through the content that we are sharing here. And so again, here is my friend, Sean Scott. Hey, Sean, welcome to the podcast. Really glad to have you here. How are you doing today?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I am doing very well. It is a sunny day as usual in Vancouver. I say as usual because
As
it's
usual,
spring.
yeah.
Not actually as usual, but yeah, doing really well.
Awesome. Well, really glad to have you here. Before we jump in, just take 30 seconds, sort of like a quick elevator pitch of what you've been doing lately and a little bit about your sort of origin story, and we'll dive in. We're gonna talk more about that.
Awesome. Yeah. So basically, I am founder of The Partnership Expert. So The Partnership Expert is a consultancy and talent management agency. So we help creators across all different industries basically earn through brand partnerships, affiliates, and sponsorships. Essentially, I was previously a brand manager, so I worked on the other side, commissioning influencers to do campaigns. And after an unfortunate but also fortunate layoff, decided to set up this business and just work directly with creators. So that is where I am and what I'm up to.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I mean, so there's a common tie between me and you here in our a bit of our origin story. We did both work at Thinkific, not
Yeah.
together. I don't think we overlapped actually. I don't know when you had joined, but I feel like maybe just right after I had left.
Yeah, it was 2020 for me. It was actually just at the start of 2020. Yeah.
Just to start 2020. Yeah, I think I had left just right before the pandemic, like literally,
Right.
yeah, January or February, right before things shut down that March. But yeah, we would have worked on the same team, I think, like partnerships and affiliates and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's so cool. We must have just missed each other by like a month.
Yeah. You are like the new and improved version of me. I feel like we're
That's
there.
kind, but I'm sure just a different version.
No, that's great. Well, I'm really excited because me and you, we've actually. So for the listeners out there, I've actually worked with Sean. I want to say recently, but it feels like a long time now. We've done, so Sean, you've been doing some great things with, just to drop some names here. Hopefully they don't mind and you don't mind, but you've been working with like Latasha James, and Saley Barkley, and just some amazing content creators and influencers to really manage their brand deals. And we connected, and now we're working with you to and those creators as well on sponsorships with Uscreen. And man, it has just been so good to work with somebody like you. And everything is all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted and nothing is missed, and you're just on top of everything. Communication is so flawless. Yeah, so tell me what I mean, is that something, you mentioned the layoffs and stuff, and that sometimes is like those can be a blessing in disguise. Like, were you always thinking like, were you going to do that anyway, maybe as a side hustle, or were you like, all right, cool, this is a cool opportunity, I'm just going to dive in and do this now? So how did that come about?
Yeah, definitely. So, well, thank you so much, first of all. And I feel like a lot of us probably think, yeah, I have these ideas. I want to start a business. Truly, for me, I didn't know I wanted to do this specifically. I knew I wanted to do something. I think for me, the most inspiring thing was working with these creator entrepreneurs like Zaley Barkley, like Latasha James, and seeing them just like kill it with their business and do so well. I knew I wanted to do something. But honestly, I just didn't have the time. Like when we work our 9 to 5, it's really hard sometimes to motivate ourselves outside of that. And so the layoff was like, okay, you have no choice now. You either have to find another job or you have to figure out your business. And when I really pared it down, working with these creators was like the most inspiring part of my job when I worked at Thinkific. And so it just felt like such a natural transition to bring those skills, all of that knowledge I had around brand deals, the creator economy, and just support creators to do it themselves. So I guess that's kind of the motivation into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems like your gift to do that. What do you find is the thing that you help them with the most? Because is it like sort of organizing all of those numbers? I don't know, like just those moving pieces.
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you help with them? Where's the value that you bring as their manager there?
Yeah, I honestly bring it back to the initial conversation we have, which is around what are they trying to achieve with their business first and foremost. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the time, creators, they're experts at making content,
Mm-hmm.
building their following on social media, but they
Yeah.
don't necessarily have like that. And sorry, please correct me if any of you are like, hey, I do have this. The business, like the
No.
business acumen
Yeah.
to grow and scale and monetize. So
Mm-hmm.
I bring that kind of, or I hope to bring that strategy around how they monetize brand deals and sponsorships
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, and then allow them to like free their time up as well. So whether it's me enabling them to do it themselves without
Mm-hmm.
me as like a talent manager, or
Mm-hmm.
whether it is me full-time talent manager, it basically frees them up so they can just keep creating content, doing what they're really passionate about, and then have systems in place to earn,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of think like a business owner, think like a salesperson. I mean, obviously you're a content creator as well, right, Rob? You know, you've got
Mm-hmm.
this podcast. Like, I'm super curious from your perspective, like, what is the biggest pain point as a creator
Yeah.
when it comes to monetization or
Mm-hmm.
brand deals? I'd
Yeah.
love to hear from you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, no, I think what you said is really true. In general, creators are really good. I've had this conversation all the time with people in the industries that creators are really good, and they admit it that they're really good at creating content. They would just create content for the most part if they were allowed to all day, and that would be such a dream job for them. Unfortunately, the reality is that this is a business. Once you get to a certain point, it becomes a business, right, Sean? And so you do need to have those skills. And so any successful creator, we've really analyzed this and thought about this a lot at Uscreen, is that any creators that really want to grow outside of being this solo influencer and becoming like a media company, right? That's sort of the term that comes up all the time now. No, I'm not an influencer. I'm a media company. I've got different
Yeah.
monetizations. I've got different people that work for me and all that stuff. They're a company. You need somebody with that knowledge. Sometimes it's the creator. Like I want to say like props to Sean Cannell, for example. Think Media.
Yes.
I think he's got that mind of a entrepreneur, business strategist, but a lot of creators don't, and so they would need to hire somebody or bring somebody on the team like yourself to help them think through that. Creating content and building a content plan is a full-time gig once you get to a certain level, and even that side of it you need to outsource, and you need to bring on team members to do the editing and repurposing and
Right.
posting and optimizing your content and stuff. So yeah, I think that's really important. As far as like a pain point, I think, Sean, I think it's all of that we just said, but it's also like shiny objects out there.
Mm.
We think about memberships at Uscreen. That's what we do. That's what we help creators with. But man, it's like, you talk to creators and they have such a big audience. And you're like, man, you should like, if you had like 5% of your audience members paying $20 a month for your premium content or some form of membership, you wouldn't need to do anything else. But they're pulled into like, oh, you should do these other things. You should launch a merch line, and you should like do these speaking engagements and summits and stuff like that. So I think it's shiny objects for good or bad. Can be a curse, can be a blessing, right? So many opportunities. So I think that's kind of one of the main things. I don't know if you have these conversations with your managed creators and partners, but in terms of shiny objects, do you have to like tell them like, no, not this month, not this quarter, we're not doing that?
You know what? I put my hands up and say the folks that I work with seem to be so good at that.
Oh, good, good.
They've like, but I feel like it's a learned experience. Like, I had a conversation with one the other day who, I mean, I basically said, look, I switched off on the weekend, and I'm glad I did, because I don't at the moment. And she said to me like, hey, it's taken me years to learn how to balance my time priorities, time off against memberships, and this,
Mm.
that, and the other. I think ultimately within it, as long as a creator is thinking about how am I sustaining my energy and then balancing all of these different streams so that it works for me as a business, then that's how I see them succeed.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I'm curious, somebody like you, because this is something I kind of struggle with, is how do you keep up with all the things that are happening in this industry?
Oh
Like, does
yeah,
it become
definitely.
overwhelming ever, or for you
Um,
anyway?
Personally, I select a few different sources of inspiration to follow,
Hmm.
and I stick to just that. So, we can drop them in notes or however,
Yeah,
but a couple that
please.
I follow and I love. There is The Leap, which is
Mm-hmm.
a media company by Thinkific, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic for early stage creators. There is something called Passion Fruit as well,
Mm.
which is another kind of creator economy newsletter. Um, there is a great Instagram account called #PayMe,
Oh,
which is
I gotta write that
basically
down.
this creator who set up this platform to ensure that there's equity and fair pay across the industry.
Wow.
So honestly, I follow these few sources, and they're always super up to date on, what's happening in the creator economy, how to get paid, how to run your brand deals. So it's yeah, just those few trusted sources for me.
I like that. I like that. And you've been creating content yourself. I've been seeing you come up on my stories and my reels pretty often nowadays. And yeah, tell us a little bit about sort of like, are you doing that to spread, like just share your knowledge? Like, yeah, what's the idea behind that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, truthfully, I just love providing this education and knowledge to creators. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a natural way for me to help people. Truthfully as well, though, it also just adds legitimacy. Like if I
Yeah.
can take a moment and say, I'm 6 months into running this business, uh, it's so helpful to have that legitimacy. So any creator who is, oh, I'm not sure if I should be making videos or doing this, like putting our face out there at least creates that legitimacy around who we are, allows us to educate, and that's honestly for me why I do it. I just love giving out those nuggets of advice.
No, I love that. I love it. Yeah, you're doing a great job with that. I think there is so much that creators just don't understand, and they kind of get
Right.
themselves in a bad deal, and and that can be really bad. What's like what are some of those things? What are some of those you know like the things that a creator should not get themselves into when it comes to brand deals, right? Because there's so many different forms of brand deals these days. I think maybe I'm just in the middle of this hurricane. Is that I feel like more and more
Mm.
brands are leaning towards sponsorships. The options to market and promote your brand, your service is dwindling. It's really getting narrow, right? People are not watching ads anymore. They're skipping through ads. They're getting ad blockers. All of this stuff on social. They're definitely not going through the traditional TV and newspaper and radio. That's not a way to reach your audience anymore. So, you have to get in and embed your content or your brand within a creator to be
Mhm.
seen. And so, yeah, what are some of those pitfalls that you've seen that you're like, oh, what did you do that for?
Yeah, well, from the creative perspective, I would say first and foremost, it's especially if you don't have a talent manager like me, it's trusting your gut. So if you approach a brand or a brand approaches you, you first want to just make sure you've got a sense of trust and that you believe in the brand. So that's definitely the first pitfall is don't just fall into it for the money. Um, Second, after that, obviously, there are so many complexities in the negotiation, the contracting. So it's just very much being aware, first and foremost, what's your value? What are you worth? Um, and really keeping that into the conversation that you're having with the brand. So know your worth and know your value. And then the contracting, right? There are so many intricacies around usage rights, exclusivity. So you have to pay attention to that in a contract because I have seen creators give away content um, with signing whatever terms that are in the contract, and then the brand owns that content forever. So
Hmm.
essentially, they can use the creator's likeness, they can use their face in their content forever, and
Yeah.
it for me, I think of it as like, you as a creator, Rob, for example, you've built your brand around who you are and your face.
Yeah.
If you give that away to a big company and then they're putting ads out there with
Hmm.
your face on their ads, it's
Yeah.
essentially taking away from the brand you have created.
That's true.
So for me, those are the pitfalls is pay attention to the contracts, make sure you're getting paid fairly and you're not falling into any of those traps. But
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you as well. Like, if
Yeah.
you had any fun experiences you want to share with, like, yeah, that was a
Yeah.
bit of a red flag.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many red flags. I mean, you get, I have and Sean, thanks for mentioning my YouTube channel, but like, yeah, I have a small YouTube channel, and I get maybe I would say a handful of brands reaching out
Mhm.
just by email and saying, hey, we want to do this one, and sometimes it's paid, but a lot of times it's like, hey, we'll give you free access to things, send you some products and stuff. I don't know. I think maybe when you're starting out, yes, accept it, and you create content around it, you leverage what you can, you're given, you make what you can out of lemons, and you turn it into lemonade and stuff, whatever that saying is. But I think now more and more creators, even with the smaller audience, should be definitely thinking of every time you make a video, you should be making it should be monetized somehow, right? Like whether
100%.
you have a sponsor, or maybe then also there's ads, of course, running. Like Daniel Batal, who's a creator friend of mine, he says, yeah, like every time I make a video, I want to make sure I'm getting paid for it. Like there's no question mark. Like this is a job. I'm a professional. And sometimes that payment is through your own products. Doesn't necessarily have to be a brand. It could be like you're sponsoring your own content. Like, hey, this video is brought to you by the Creator Accelerator or whatever, and that's your own program. You're selling your own courses or membership. So I don't know how we got into this topic, but yeah, that's kind of.
I love it. Yeah, I love that. Honestly, that mindset is incredible, because ultimately you're selling your production value, your knowledge. Like, it's not just an ad. Like
Yeah,
that's the thing is, I have definitely had brands that say, well, we'll pay X amount to the creator based on the predicted views.
yeah,
And my thought process is, just invest in paid ads then. If that is your
yeah,
mindset and
that's
you're
right.
not valuing the creator's time, their knowledge, the production work that they put into creating this video, then we don't want to work with you.
We don't want to work with
So
you.
I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah, it's a great mindset to have.
totally. And I think the other thing too, as creators, or hopefully you guys are listening to this, is that there's a lot of trust that you've built with your audience that a brand can't get that value through an ad, because an ad is
Absolutely.
it's disruptive, right? And they're just trying to insert themselves in the content. Whereas a sponsorship or an ad read or a dedicated video, the creator has hopefully done their homework and said, okay, this I align with this brand, I trust this brand. I may or may not use this brand, but I trust it enough to share it with you, because I know that if I lose your trust as my audience, then my whole brand and my business is sort of like dwindled away, right? There's a lot of that trust factor is massive as a creator, and so that's also something that I think creators need to put value on, which I
Yeah,
don't see as
definitely.
much. Like
I
when
agree. Yeah.
Latasha and Saley put and they say, yeah, you should check out Uscreen. It's like it's worth a lot, right? There's value in that. Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah, because ultimately, again, bringing it back to that idea of, it's your face, it's your brand. You have built an audience that you have worked hard for.
yeah,
It's like, that's you on the front line, building trust with that audience, and therefore, if you're promoting a brand, you you really want to believe in that brand, like, authentically. And
yeah.
I feel like I love that perspective, and I don't think brands always appreciate that.
No,
But
they
there
don't.
are some like Uscreen that do, so you they're out
Uh,
there.
yeah, no, we love working with you guys. Now let's flip it a little bit, and talking to the folks that are representing brands out there. What's some advice that you have? What's some pitfalls that you have? I think you shared some great advice and pitfalls there for the creators that are seeking out brand deals, but for brands as they start to navigate through this new world of we don't know what the heck to do with brand deals. What are some maybe one or two advice that you would ask kind of share with them as they get
Oh
started?
yeah, I could speak about this forever, so I will pare it down, and then if we want to do another episode, we can.
Yeah.
So basically, the first thing for me is, when you're working with creators and you're doing brand campaigns like this, it has to be aligned with some internal marketing goal. So if
Mm,
it's a campaign or a product launch or something, ensure that your creator and influencer partnerships align with that. Second, I also believe creator and influencer marketing suits many different purposes. It is conversion focused, but it's also brand awareness. It's also lead generation, email capture. So I think attaching multiple metrics as a brand manager to these partnerships is also a way to showcase success internally. And then finally, I believe partnerships shouldn't happen in silos. So
mm,
when I used to work in a brand, I would do a big splash where I would work with 10, 15, 20 influencers over the space of a month, and we would promote one campaign or one product launch all at one time, so that we could see the cumulative efforts on traffic and search, etc. So I think it's just about being strategic with it as a marketing channel.
So
Is
good.
it's super important. So
So
that's
good.
definitely my thoughts.
So good. I actually took those notes down.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's
awesome.
really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I think the first two are a little easier than the last one, which is like for you to coordinate 10 to 15 influencers and all their content calendars, to do this big thunderclap, each month. I mean, I think that's phenomenal that you guys were able to do that. Yeah, and I do agree with you. Like working at Uscreen, you do have to have you can't just spend money and not have a way to report back ROI, which some of it is easier to measure than others. Obviously,
Yeah.
brand awareness is an interesting one. I think conversions are easy to measure because the nature of pixels and tracking. But awareness is a difficult one, to be honest, Sean. I don't even know I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. But, for them to see, they come across Saley or Latasha James's video and she mentioned Uscreen, but they don't click the UTMs. They don't click the link in the description. But, later on, they do their thing. They grab coffee, they work, they go for a jog, they come back, and then they're like about to work on their business as a creator. They have their 1 hour or 2 hours, that day to do that. They're like, hey, what's that thing that Latasha mentioned about membership? Something. And they may start searching Google and they find it. They find a paid ad or maybe an organic blog post or something. And they click on it and there's no connect. Like, yes, it was Latasha that generated or created the demand, but it wasn't captured. There wasn't, that demand wasn't captured and attributed to her directly.
Yeah.
We've done some things like we've done, an open field when people create an account and say, how did you hear about us? Open text, and some people have mentioned like different creators that we sponsor, and that's one way. But also some people will just say like YouTube or Instagram, like, well, who though? Right? Yeah. So yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I mean, if there's any ways to better track that.
Yeah, I mean, again, just from my kind of experience and thought process doing this in a brand, I think one thing is get in line and in sync with the other teams in your organization, like paid ads, so that you can intentionally set up like retargeting programs, for example, where any traffic that comes via these influencers can be retargeted. I think outside of that, if you're doing a big enough campaign as well, you can look at your search direct to website traffic and see if there has been any lifts during these campaign periods. I think I've seen brands do that where they've done a huge PR and influencer campaign, and then they've directly shown the result as, hey, look at this uptick in traffic we got during this period. I think outside of that, there's tools as well that we can use. So influencer management tools like Aspire IQ, there's a whole bunch of them out there that can also showcase a lot of those top of funnel metrics that we can't necessarily see via like the UTM tracking. So I think there is a lot of ways to do it, but brand awareness, as far as I'm aware, is one that hasn't been cracked. And if it ever is, whoever that person is going to be in the money.
Yeah, exactly. They'll figure it out, I'm sure. But man, it is interesting. I think one of the things you said is just being aligned. Yeah, fortunately at Uscreen, the leadership executives, they're aligned with my thinking as well. In terms of, okay. We can't measure all of the cross-functional or cross-device traffic and searches and everything, but we inherently, based on our own behavior and just talking to the market, that this is just what happens. Influencer marketing can improve and lift brand awareness, and you're not going to be able to measure it. And we've kind of put a multiplier, because people will have they'll mention Latasha in the attribution field when they create a new account, and we'll and this can depend on your company, but for us, we'll just say like, hey, if we see one person mention one of our influencers, there's probably 20 or 10 to 20 others that just didn't mention it and they forgot, but it was attributed to influencer marketing. You gotta put your own multipliers, my suggestion, because it is happening. That's just the only way. Like, how can people know that they search for your brand, how would they know to search for it on Google? Like, how would they know that? Like, that name came from somewhere. Like, I'm looking for the partnership expert on Google or LinkedIn. I'm searching it. How would I even know that? Oh, I must have seen one of Sean's like reels, right? Like
Podcast or reel or something.
podcasts
Yeah,
or
exactly.
reels, like somewhere, right? Like there's no other way. I didn't just make up the name or dream of it and then search it. So it must
Yeah.
have come from a source, right?
I would say honestly, my final thought there as well is okay. Let's look at creators and how creators generate demand for their product. Right? They often have freebies and lead magnets, and they're funneling all of their audience into this free mini course or digital download. I think as well, like brands should experiment more there, especially a
Mm,
SaaS tool, is rather than doing director conversion campaigns with influencers, how about offer a freebie, some education that the influencer is promoting, and then you're gathering all of those email addresses
yeah,
and then convert them once they're in your ecosystem. Like there's just so many other ways
yeah.
to utilize this incredible channel rather than just thinking director conversion.
I love that. I love that. It's great advice. Um, Yeah, I mean, I think Sean, we could talk for days. I want to respect your
I know.
time. You definitely have to come back again. What are you up to? What's sort of like on the horizon for Sean, for the partnership expert? Are you looking to work with more creators, work with more brands? For the creators that you have, like what's sort of the next thing there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, we represent a group of creators currently, and always looking to help them and bring more brands in for them. But outside of that, we offer coaching and talent management. So, any creator who's looking to monetize, get brand deals, get affiliate sponsorships, we can help you get into that realm, strategize, pitch, and earn. So, basic, that's it. I want to keep helping creators uh, do what they love and earn from the amazing channels and content they create. So,
I
yeah,
love it. I
that's what
love
I'm
it.
up
I
to.
love it. You're one of the good guys out here, in my
I know.
in my
I hope
opinion.
so.
In my opinion, and yeah, I'm just gonna share for the folks that are seeing the video version of the podcast. Just sharing Sean's LinkedIn. Sean, I'm assuming this is probably a good place to connect with you.
Yes,
I know that
definitely.
me and you chat here quite often. And then Sean, I also want to throw out your website, thepartnershipexpert.com. Thepartnershipexpert.com. You can go right here and just start, inquiring and how to work with Sean. Sean, for brands that want to connect with you about the creators or maybe get a list of the creators that you have,
Mhm.
what's the best place? Would that be? Oh, it's right here. Oh my gosh.
I was just gonna
Perfect.
say, keep scrolling.
Perfect. There you go. Yeah. So this is, I'm assuming, pretty updated. And then,
Yeah, I think I need to do a minor adjustment. Hopefully, when this is live, I'll have everyone there, but everyone's here, including kind of their main channels that they focus on.
so good. So good. Is there a type of creator that you like working with? Is there like sort of because, I think a lot of creators, myself included, are like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know, a
Mm.
manager? That seems like, expert, like the big leagues to have a manager, Like,
Yeah,
am I
yeah.
qualified to even do that? Like, I don't even know. I'm just gonna do this on my own until someone validates that I can.
Yeah, honestly, I want to work with any creator that is motivated and wants to have that business mindset around how they build.
Mm,
Ultimately, I also offer this consultancy and coaching. It's
mm.
basically 75 days where I work with the creator and I do everything like hand by hand with them. So I will give them all the materials and resources they need, hold their hand through pitching, and basically train them to do it themselves. So
Oh wow.
if you're a creator who is new and you're like, I actually don't need a manager, like I don't want to be given commission, I'll work with you for 75 days and I'll get you doing it yourself.
Oh nice, awesome. And so they can connect with you on that through your website.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You can connect with me there on the Work With Us, or you can jump down to my Instagram, LinkedIn. DMs are always open,
Mm.
and I will happily set up a free strategy call with any creator that wants to connect.
Perfect, perfect. And you've got this creator monetization checklist as well. So make sure you download that as well.
Yeah.
Man, Sean, you could be like your own influencer here. Man, such
Honestly,
good branding. Your branding is like so good.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the branding. I love the content creation. It's definitely an amazing kind of like journey to be on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Sean, thank you so much for your time. It's been so good. I know we're just going to keep on talking, working together. So if you guys want to connect with Sean, make sure you do that. Please head over to LinkedIn and all the websites. It'll be all in the show notes and the descriptions below. And yeah, let them know that Rob sent you over there. Love it. All right, Sean,
Thank
thank
you
you so
so
much for your
much.
time. We'll talk soon.